I'm always looking and always open to trying some new and different things of that may feel supportive for our clients, that may be supportive for me, that may have just different uses. And so this one was really appealing. Given Brendan's feedback, I actually had someone from DesBio, and I've used a couple of their products in the past. So I did this for it was about 6 weeks, and I started at lower dosages. Typically, how they're recommending it is 30 drops in like a large bottle of water to be slowly sipped throughout the day. I'll tell you, I tried that, and it tasted so gross to me. The alcohol content in these, for me as someone who doesn't really drink anymore, very strong alcohol flavor. So drinking it in that capacity did not go well. It felt like I was drinking straight vodka, if I'm being really honest, and it was super gross to me. So for me, that was not a viable option after that first day of doing that. So I just put the drops under my tongue a few times a day. And I started off with 2 drops, went to 4, went to 6, and then went to 10. 10 drops 3 times a day under the tongue is kind of where they're leaning with this. And at first, when I was just doing 2 and 4 drops, I just put them all 3 under a tongue, hold it for like 30 to 60 seconds, and then swallow. By the way, the flavor doing that, not terrible, not bad at all. Getting up to 10 drops, not my favorite, and also not the worst. Not as bad as drinking it in a large bottle of water. Man, that was so gross to me. But doing the 10 drops under my tongue and each product individually, holding each of those was the way that I did this. And at 2 and 4 drops, I didn't notice much of a difference. Once I got up to 6, though, man, I'll tell you, the first night I did, or the first day I did 6 drops, massive wave of emotions coming up. And I'm telling you, I just like the range of emotions coming up: sadness, fear, anxiety, anger, rage, frustration, annoyance. I mean, the gamut of emotions just coming up and seemingly came out of nowhere for me. And so I think like one of my biggest takeaways from doing this protocol is if you don't have tools and resources, and I don't mean a couple, I mean a good and broad spectrum of tools to help you process emotions, this is not the protocol for you. I would absolutely not recommend this. I'll also share I did start this. I went back and forth on whether this was the best time or the worst time to do this. I have a really big week one time a year. I have several anniversaries that always bring up a lot of emotions. I started this protocol that week. Once again, was it good? Did it help with it? Did it make it way worse? I don't totally know. And I felt like it did help me process. And I did have some pretty big waves. And I'll tell you, the waves did not stop throughout the entire protocol. It wasn't every day. It would come out of nowhere every single time. And I remember like the last really big one I had just within the last 2 weeks. I had done a dose a few, like my afternoon or my lunchtime dosing, had a call with a client that, I mean, was nothing crazy. I mean, it was literally nothing crazy. And then after the call, I immediately started like crying so hard and just like all of the things were coming up. And I'm telling you, some of it new and relevant, some of it, I mean, from childhood, absolutely from being a teenager, just a really broad spectrum of emotions. Thank goodness I had some open space after that call to be able to sit and process that. And, Jonathan was here to help in that process as well, and just support and hold space for me and listen while I vented about all of these things that were coming up for me all at once. So once again, this is not a "Oh, I'm having trouble processing X, Y, and Z. Let me just dive in deep into this protocol and this will help me and then help me process it." For me, there is a correlation to some of the larger psychedelic experiences I have had wherein, I went in, set an intention, and every day before I did my first dosing, I would set an intention. I would try and connect with my body a little bit. How was I feeling physically, mentally, emotionally with all of this and what was I really hoping to get out of it? And, we do the same thing in larger psychedelic work. I'm talking like macro type journeys. And we always say in the plant medicine space, the medicine's going to give you what you need, not necessarily what you want. That is exactly how I feel about this. Is I felt like it gave me what I needed, not necessarily what I wanted. And yeah, maybe I got some things that I wanted. I think for me, a big piece of this was just after everything from last year, we're doing some different, we've been doing big changes in the business and we're almost done with another new, like really big thing. And, there's just a lot going on right now. And we're getting ready to leave Arizona. That's bringing up a lot of emotions for me, good and we'll just say other types of emotions. Jonathan and I are working through some different things right now too, and expanding our relationship, building a deeper relationship, and what does that look like, especially from a polarity standpoint. And yeah, I mean it kicked my butt during many times. And once again, if I didn't already have years of experience, I mean, we're looking at over a decade of a couple decades now, probably, if we count therapy, that I started when I was pretty young. I have decades of experience in different tools, different modalities, different things to help and support me in the emotional processing standpoint because I needed to use those, and I needed to use a lot of them. So this is not a beginner protocol by any stretch of the imagination. This is not a fun, frilly, "Well, oh, let me just kinda give this a try and let me see what happens." No, this is if you feel very capable and have lots of tools in your toolbox from, like, that mental and emotional standpoint, emotional processing, trauma healing, trauma processing, all of those things, yeah, I think this can be a valuable tool, and I do feel like it did give me some space from a nervous system perspective. We talk about I love talking about the stress bucket, and I felt like and I'm still going back and forth. I'm about a week out from finishing it, and I think it did give me some more space, meaning it took some things out of my bucket, but I also think it helped me expand it just a little bit. And, if I had a medium bucket, maybe I have like a medium plus bucket now. And so it did give me that extra room and space. But once again, like this is not for beginners. And from more of a mental standpoint, cognitive standpoint, I don't think I notice a major difference from that perspective. Now, I'm also going to say that I went into this not experiencing much brain fog, much cognitive issues, many cognitive issues. Like, I don't have a lot of like recall memory issues. I do keep a lot of lists, but there's also a lot of different things going on from a business perspective and life perspective. So for me, it just helps keep everything organized in my brain. Having a lot of lists, I've got a lot of sticky notes all around me from a work perspective. So all of those things are helpful. But I didn't feel overwhelmed from a cognitive standpoint. So I don't notice a major difference there. And I do notice a pretty big difference from an emotional standpoint. And it also gave me some really interesting things to continue to focus on. Anger and rage are not very common emotions for me. It's really hard to get me super angry and mad, to yell, to have that come up in me. It's just not very common, and I've had one larger journey experience where I did have a lot of anger kind of lingering and some challenges to process that, And I've definitely within just this year alone, I feel like I'm having some of those things come back up.